Can unimaginable wealth make you a target for murder? We're diving into the chilling stories of billionaires whose fortunes became their downfall. From mysterious assassinations to shocking betrayals, these wealthy heirs were hunted, not for who they were, but for what they owned. Stay tuned as we unravel the dark side of luxury, where money can buy anything, even a deadly fate. Number 10. Selena Quintanilla Perez. Selena Quintanilla Perez, the vibrant Latin music sensation, captured hearts worldwide with her talent and charisma. Among her fans was Yolanda Saldívar, who admired Selena so much that she convinced her father to let her start a fan club. Over time, Saldívar became deeply involved in Selena's life, even managing her fan club and boutiques. However, what began as admiration soon turned dark when Selena suspected Saldívar of stealing from both the fan club and boutiques. On March 31, 1995, Selena confronted Saldívar in a hotel room about the theft. The confrontation ended tragically. Saldívar shot the 23-year-old singer in the back, leading to Selena's untimely death from blood loss and cardiac arrest. Although Saldívar claimed the shooting was an accident, authorities were unconvinced. She was sentenced to life in prison later that year. At the time of her death, Selena's legacy was already growing, with a net worth of $10 million. Number 9. Christopher George Lador Wallace. Known by names like the Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls, or simply Biggie, Christopher Wallace dominated the rap scene with hits like Juicy and Big Papa. His music wasn't his only claim to fame, though. His infamous rivalry with Tupac Shakur fueled the East Coast-West Coast rap feud. When Tupac was murdered in 1996, Wallace sought to bridge the divide, but fate had other plans. Just months later, on March 9, 1997, the 24-year-old rapper was gunned down in a drive-by shooting after a Vibe magazine party. His death remains an unsolved mystery, leaving many to speculate that it was a brutal consequence of the ongoing East Coast-West Coast feud. At the time of his murder, Biggie's star was still rising, and his net worth had already reached $20 million. Number 8. Richard Alland. The Alland family, a pillar of Canada's old money elite, has owned Moosehead breweries since 1867, with its origins tracing back to founder Susanna Alland. But Richard Alland, who was 69 at the time of his death, had ventured beyond the family business to build a fortune of his own through several successful ventures. On July 7, 2011, tragedy struck when Richard was found brutally murdered in his office, his body discovered by his secretary. His wealth, then estimated at 37 million Canadian dollars, made headlines. His son, Dennis, quickly found himself under suspicion, accused of killing his father due to financial struggles. Initially convicted of second-degree murder, Dennis was sentenced to life in prison. Yet, a dramatic twist came during his retrial. He was acquitted due to insufficient forensic evidence. To this day, the mystery of who killed Richard Alland remains unsolved, casting a shadow over one of Canada's wealthiest families. Number 7. Adolphe Coors III. Adolphe Coors III, the heir to the Coors Brewing empire, met a tragic end at the age of 45 in a crime that shocked the nation. On February 9, 1960, while driving to work in Morrison, Colorado, Adolphe was abducted by Joe Corbett, an escaped convict desperate for a large ransom. Corbett demanded $500,000 in exchange for Coors' safe return, but before the money could be delivered, Coors was killed, and his body callously discarded in a garbage dump. Corbett managed to evade capture for several months, hiding out in Vancouver until neighbors recognized him and alerted authorities. He was eventually caught, extradited, and sentenced to life in prison. Despite his heinous crime, Corbett served less than 20 years before being paroled, forever leaving the Coors family with the heart-wrenching legacy of their lost heir. Number 6. John Lennon. John Lennon, a cultural icon and co-lead singer of the Beatles, left an indelible mark on the music world long after the band's breakup in 1970. But his immense fame made him a target for Mark David Chapman, a man who craved notoriety and believed that taking Lennon's life would make him somebody. On December 8, 1980, Chapman waited outside Lennon's apartment with a revolver in one hand and a copy of The Catcher in the Rye in the other, the book he had chillingly referred to as his statement. After casually approaching Lennon earlier for an autograph, Chapman bided his time until the singer returned from a recording session. Then, without warning, he fired multiple shots, ending Lennon's life in a brutal, senseless act. Lennon, worth an estimated $200 million at the time, died en route to the hospital after losing a massive amount of blood. Number 5. Gianni Versace. Gianni Versace was a trailblazer in the fashion industry, known for revolutionizing fashion with bold, daring designs and his deep connections with celebrities. the empire he built, Gianni Versace Spa, transformed luxury fashion. But on July 15, 1997, his life came to a tragic and violent end when spree killer Andrew Cunanan shot him outside his Miami mansion. Versace became the fifth and final victim in Cunanan's murderous rampage, though his reasons for targeting the fashion mogul remain a mystery. 8 days after the shocking murder, Cunanan took his own life, leaving no note and no clear explanation for his deadly spree. At the time of his death, Versace's empire was valued at a staggering $807 million, a testament to his immense influence in the world of fashion. Number 4. Edward Stern. Edward Stern, one of France's wealthiest individuals, built a fortune of about $1 billion after selling his family's bank and launching his own investment firm, IRR Capital. He was closely connected with the powerful, even counting former French President Nicolas Sarkozy as a personal friend. But beneath the surface of wealth and influence lay a darker, hidden life. On February 28, 2005, Stern's life came to a tragic and shocking end. His mistress, Cécile Brassard, fatally shot him in a hotel room during a heated argument. The two were in the midst of an intense relationship, engaging in sadomasochistic activities on the night of the murder. Stern, still clad in a latex catsuit, was found dead the next morning by his associates. Brassard, swiftly arrested, was later convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 8.5 years in prison. Having spent 5 years in detention, she was released in 2010. Number 3. Edmond Safra. Edmond Safra, a Lebanese-Brazilian banking titan, was both revered and shrouded in controversy throughout his life. By 21, he had founded his first bank, building a $2.5 billion empire based on deposits rather than traditional loans. This unusual strategy sparked rumors and whispers that Safra's wealth might have darker origins. Despite various investigations, no concrete evidence of criminal activity was ever uncovered. His fortune appeared to be the product of legitimate international banking. But Safra's untimely death in December 1999 stirred suspicions anew. He and his nurse perished in a deliberately set fire in his Monaco apartment. Theories ranged from Russian mobsters to drug cartels being behind the murder. The real culprit, however, was much closer to home. Ted Marr, one of Safra's own nurses, ignited the fire in a misguided attempt to stage a heroic rescue and win Safra's favor. The fire spread out of control, trapping Safra and another nurse, Vivian Torrente, who both succumbed to smoke inhalation. Marr was sentenced to 10 years in prison in 2002 but was released in 2007. Number 2. Barry and Honey Sherman. On December 15, 2017, the shocking deaths of Canadian billionaires Barry and Honey Sherman rocked the world. Their lifeless bodies were found in their Toronto mansion, bound and strangled in a chillingly staged manner that resembled statues they owned. At first, police believed this was a murder-suicide orchestrated by Barry Sherman himself. But as the investigation deepened, it became evident that both were brutally murdered by an unknown assailant. Barry, a pharmaceutical giant with a net worth of $3.2 billion, had made his fortune through Apotex, a drug company. Despite his prominence as Canada's 12th wealthiest individual, the mystery behind the couple's horrific deaths remains unsolved, leaving a trail of unanswered questions and eerie suspicions. Number 1. Helene Pastor. Helene Pastor, once the wealthiest woman in Monaco, was not just another billionaire. She held sway over a staggering 15% of Monaco's housing. A descendant of the influential Pastor family, her empire was only second to Monaco's royal family. But on May 6, 2014, this empire was shattered when Helene and her driver were ambushed by a gunman wielding a sawed-off shotgun. Though she survived the brutal attack long enough to describe her assailants, Helene succumbed to her injuries just 2 weeks later. The investigation uncovered a twisted betrayal. Wojciech Janowski, the common-law partner of Helene's daughter, Sylvia, had orchestrated the hit, hoping to secure access to Helene's multi-billion-dollar fortune. Instead of inheriting the estimated $3.7 billion to $25 billion wealth, Janowski was sentenced to life in prison, forever tainted by greed and murder. If you found these haunting stories as gripping as we did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more eye-opening videos on true crime and the shocking lives of the ultra-wealthy. And remember, sometimes the greatest danger lurks behind the glitter of fortune.